Welcome back, one and all, to KJ's What Happened. We're going to look back in the past week and just some of the things that stood out to me, and I always like to share them with you guys. But if you didn't know, today's it's definitely not a holiday, kind of an important day. This is December 10th on YouTube, and it looks like we're still here. I mean, I wasn't thinking I was going to be gone on December 10th. I don't think they're going to do it that way anyway. I think it's just another tool in their arsenal, and they'll continue doing the whole boiling frog motif and just kind of pick people off here and there, space it out. It seems like what they've been doing, but I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for you, and I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope things are going well with you. Got so much stuff to show you tonight, man, and a lot of it's footage. We got a lot of footage this week, pretty footage-heavy week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started with the business first, and then we'll get right into it, because, again, we got a lot of stuff to get into here. So, more and more companies are struggling right now, and one casualty of this might be your 401k. American workers are finding their retirement money is being frozen and their plans being canceled. Finding your pension suddenly terminated isn't a great place to be, but it gives you a few options. You can withdraw your funds and get taxed a lot. If your workplace has gone out of business, but you have a new job, you can roll it over to your new employer, but you'll have all the same risks. Or you can put the money into your own personal IRA account where it's your right to choose your own investment. With stock markets, property, and bonds looking rocky right now, precious metals, gold and silver might be the way to go. Noble Gold are the experts and the sponsors of tonight's show. They're the experts on precious metal IRAs. They've kept thousands of families safe when their futures were pulled from under them. So if you're interested in this for you, yourself, for you and your family, please click the link below and check out my sponsor. Thank you guys so much. All right, so now that business is taken care of, let's just go ahead and jump right into things. How's that? So, you know what? Hey, how about this? We're actually starting off with something really nice. This is a very sweet story. So, for all those people that say it's always doom and gloom around here, I say no. Check this out. Adorable little boy invites entire kindergarten class to his adoption hearing. Another reason I chose this story just personally is I'm adopted as well. Me and my sister were adopted from different families. So she found her natural born. I didn't, kind of did. It's a long story, but never met them or anything. And so, I've always thought adoption's an option. Of course, it's great. I wish more people would consider it than the alternative. A 5-year-old boy in Michigan invited his entire kindergarten class to his adoption hearing so they could be part of his moment. I'm hoping there's a clip down here. Here we go. Rather than reading, let me just show you. All right, here we go.
It was a field trip unlike any other. School children in Kent County, Michigan, all invited down to the local courthouse.
Welcome to the courthouse on this amazing day.
To attend a very special hearing. It was Adoption Day in family court. In all, 37 foster children united with their new families.
There's so many emotional stories.
With paper hearts in hand, the friends of 8-year-old Michael Clark Jr. came to celebrate right along with him. He's been with his foster parents for about a year. Today, they are one.
We asked him, and he was just like, the class is kind of my family.
Tonight, one special group of kids have found their forever parents.
We were just kind of thinking, how can we build our...
I love my mommy.
And there's so many options, right, for building a family these days.
And one boy's classmates have learned an important lesson about love and commitment. Kevin Tibbles, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking.
I like that. It's always nice to have a good story and something positive, right? And I do find those, I always keep us on our toes. It's not always just scary doom stuff or trannies invading the local libraries or anything like this. We mix it up a little bit. Here's one for you. Kanye West replacing John Christ, I'm guessing, at Christian Youth Conference. So still watching Kanye's rise here. Famed entertainment mogul Kanye West has agreed to replace John Christ at an upcoming Christian conference after the comedian was removed due to a moral failure. First revealed in November. Looking for a replacement, Christ, Strength to Stand student Bible conference leader Scott Dawson said he was stunned when the Jesus is King rapper picked up his calls. I realized that, although this is a worldwide megastar, he was a brother in Christ, Dawson said. He told me his testimony, he told me his struggles, what he was still going through. He said he's been delivered, but he's on a growth journey with Jesus. Conference is scheduled for January 18th through the 20th. Tickets sold out soon after it was announced that West would be speaking at the event. No surprise there. It says Kanye West is bringing Sunday service to January's conference. It's just, idol worship as well always comes to mind. This is always, it's always a thing, idol worship. That's why I've never been a big fan of the image that we have of Jesus, the most popular one, just more kind of idol worship, and, that's not what he really looks like, because we don't really know for sure. We have some clues. After much prayer and deliberation, West told Dawson he'll be at the Christian conference in January. Dawson said he's thankful for West being sensitive to the Spirit and lending his voice to Strength to Stand. However, he added, make no mistake about it, this was a God moment. Only he could do it, so I cannot connect you to Kanye, only Jesus. Christ was originally scheduled to appear at the conference in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, but canceled all the tour dates due to a pattern of destructive and sinful behavior. He's been accused of engaging in promiscuous and manipulative relationships with numerous women. Reminds me of a very famous Christian truther I remember that used to be on this platform. Unhinged, gay activist liberal attacks black conservative on video. This was just kind of a scary video, so of course I had to share. So just check this out.
All right, we'll go to the room. You'll be from alone? Dude, do you want to talk to Tom Carroll about this? I'm happy to go.
There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this.
Come on.
What have I done?
You're harassing me.
Oh, that is not okay. That is not okay. You cannot do that. That is battery. That is assault. Stop.
Motherfucker.
Stop, Henry. It's okay. Look at this. Look at this.
You're gonna end up
Look at this.
dead.
Look at this. Whoa.
Right now.
Whoa. Henry, it's okay. Henry, it's okay. It's okay, Henry.
Guys, I need you guys to step aside and just start with the car.
Look at that.
I'm down. It's okay. I'm down.
It's all right. I'm down. It's okay.
I'm good. I'm good. I need to look at
It's all right. All right, take a deep breath. I know. You have every right to report.
It's just more examples of how the real triggering event, at least the most recent one, seems to be what they call Trump derangement syndrome. It's more political in nature. It goes beyond Trump. It definitely does. But we're seeing people getting triggered over everything. It's one thing we go over, I find, just on these shows. You know, I always collected this kind of stuff throughout the week. This is the stuff I look through, and then I'll find things and start putting it together in videos. But you know, once you start sharing it and really looking at all of it with people and stuff, you're just like, wow, you start noticing certain trends and everything else. And I know you guys have seen a lot of that here on the show. That's just another example of how easily triggered people are becoming over all kinds of issues, but specifically with the whole false left-right paradigm, which has been totally exposed now by Trump's presidency in so many ways. Not saying he meant to do that or not, but It is. It's all just out in the open now. Academic claims idioms like bringing home the bacon will be phased out as veganism rises. As more and more people are removing animal products from their diet, as research allegedly shows, one academic is roasting out a hot take that the English language could be facing changes as well. So what's the beef with phrases like bringing home the bacon or keeping all of your eggs in one basket? It may be less that people will grow to chicken. What is this? Okay, they're trying to be funny. Sorry. They're saying it may be less that people will grow, quote, to chicken. I get it, to say various idioms, but more than that. Let's move on. What's the story here? It's very clever. I get it, but Sharina Hamza is a postdoctoral researcher for Swansea University, and in her writings on the website The Conversationalist, titled How the Rise of Veganism May Tenderize Fictional Language, she goes into detail about how as society progresses off a meat-based diet, so too will society find itself shrugging off meat-based language. In today's reality, meat is repeatedly the subject of much socially and politically charged discussion, including about how the demand for meat is contributing to climate change and environmental degradation. Studies have indicated the negative effects of meat eating on the human body. When concerns about animal welfare are added to the broth, the growth of vegetarianism and veganism threatens to dethrone meat from its position at the top of the food hierarchy, said Hamza. Animal rights organization PETA has been campaigning for more vegan and vegetarian-friendly idioms for years, urging teachers not to use phrases that perpetuate violence towards animals. For example, instead of saying beating a dead horse, they would prefer you say the kinder alternative of feeding a fed horse. Feeding a fed horse instead of beating a dead horse. Well, okay, I guess. Beating a dead horse is now feeding a fed horse. Look, man, you're really feeding a fed horse over this thing. It just doesn't feel right, does it? Look, I'm not trying to feed a fed horse here, but I don't know, maybe. Want another example? Instead of killing two birds with one stone, they'd rather the alternative be feeding two birds with one scone. So perhaps you see that working. There you go. This one's it's a little bit older than just the past week, but I thought it'd be nice. It's the holiday season, and this is I thought this was pretty good. It looks like one of the turkeys that made it past the holidays still a little upset over something. Maybe they lost someone they love. But check this out.
I stopped you for your speed right over here. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna come over there. Here. You're not getting a ticket. We don't want you to get a ticket. He's vicious!
Okay, there we go. That's better. Let's get out of that. yeah, that's definitely no joke, man. I've been confronted by birds. They were cockatoos. I had roommates. I lived with a married couple when I was in the Coast Guard at one point for several years, but we had a huge house. We had a 2-story house. I had my own section, did my own thing, but they had lots of animals, and we had a whole room downstairs dedicated to 2 cockatoos. And those were the meanest birds I've ever dealt with my entire life. I could write a whole book about my experience with these cockatoos. I mean, they were cruel. They were also manipulative, and they were also calculating. They were very, very smart. They were methodical. They were very clever, and they loved coming at me, because they pecked me a few times on my ankles and stuff like that. That hurts, man. These are big birds. They can break the skin. So they do that to you a couple of times, and they got you a little scared. So anytime I had to go through their room, to get to the garage, I had to go through their room every time. I could probably do a comic strip about that. I mean, there was always a scenario trying to get past those birds into the garage. That's also where our washer and dryer was. So, but anyway, CBC Canada, the price of fake news. This might be a nice one for our Canadian friends out there. Says the article tells it all. They have 269,000 watchers out of 36 million Canadians. Think about that. For a yearly tab of 1.2 billion, plus whatever their share is of the slush fund Trudeau provided to make sure they towed the party line during the election. Their ad earnings were $58 million. If you remove their umbilical cord, they die. Last but most important, they are a Liberal Party propaganda arm. All right. I won't go into all the statistics, but I just thought this was interesting. It made me think back to some stories that came out during the Obama regime where CNBC and some of these kind of left-leaning, majorly left-leaning American news organizations were being funded around about through the White House. And certainly they needed it, even back then. Their numbers weren't good those 8 years either, but Fox News and stuff like that was really blowing it back then. That's also when Mr. Jones, he was having a big effect as well, Oh yeah, here's one. I'm sure I've already got some other things that kind of connect to this, but check this out. This is what Jaylee Cat wrote. I'll just say, she said, "You better wake up, world. Prince Harry meets with the First Lady of the U.S., deliberately sets Luciferian hand symbolism for photo op. You cannot deny what you're looking at. The one world order people are ill. They are evil. The rumors are true. Judge for yourself." There it is. He's done that a few times before. Seriously, right? Why else? He may have come up with some wacky excuse for the press, but it's right before our eyes, And, what could that mean? I'm curious to see what you guys think what this could mean. Some people may say that, Trump and some of his people are the white hats, literally fighting the Luciferians. I'm just telling you, this is one angle, okay? I know all the others. I get it. But some people believe that that's what this is. That, the Luciferians are being exposed. There have been more pedo rings busted in the last 3 years than any time that I can ever remember. And it's probably been in American history, for all I know. But it's been a lot all over the world. So it feels like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And it's nice to think that that's really what's happening. I'm not 100% all in on that. I'm just saying that's one line of thought on this, so. And I know some people, again, are very, very anti that, Oh, hold on one second, guys. Oh, okay, let's see. Thank you. There we go. Thanks. One of my moderators just let me know my screen wasn't showing. So thank you very much. Guys, I'm sorry about that. I hope it wasn't like that for too long. Let me make sure that you're able to see this now. So let's do that. Jump over the chat for a second. let's see. Thank you. Let me look. I'm going to go back here and just see how long that screen was off. It was off for a few minutes. Oh, right after the, okay. All right. I'm just going to go back and show you what I was trying to show you originally then, okay? Hold on one sec. It looks like you can see my screen now. Yeah, we're good. All right, guys, we're all caught up. Hey, you know, this happens sometimes on the show. You know how it gets. I mean, it's live, so you never know what might happen. But anyway, luckily we got it figured out. Thank you very much to my friend out there, Pandora, for letting me know. All right, guys, let me go ahead and continue. And this is the next one right here. You probably heard what I was saying, but now you can see the words. This is on Twitter. It's somebody named Jaylee Cat. She's just saying, you better wake up world. Prince Harry meets with First Lady of the U.S., deliberately sets Luciferian hand symbol. And here you can actually finally see the footage. Here we go. Well, I thought you could. I think I'm going to have to restart it. Hold on. Let's refresh this. And there you go. And that's what I was mentioning again when you couldn't see the screen. But, you know, what do you think about that? You think it's just comfortable? You think it's by accident? You know? There you go. Or is it, as I was saying, some people believe it has to do with these white hats and the black hats and all these things are happening behind the scenes. I mean, we'll see. You know, we'll see. There you go. Wanted to share that with you. Thanks. I'm glad you're able to see that. Thanks for staying around and rejoining me. Extra crispy fire. Walmart is selling KFC fried chicken scented fire log. I don't know who would ever want that. That might be a good joke gift. Let's see if I can find those. It says you can now satisfy your KFC craving by throwing a log on the fire. The traditional Yule log has gotten a makeover. Walmart.com is now selling the KFC fire log that has 11 herbs and spices to filter through your home. Last year, the unique holiday log sold out in just a few hours. I don't know. Said it might be a good joke, right? Good joke gift. This one was interesting. Anytime you hear Goldman Sachs talking, Goldman Sachs says that every one of its private equity clients is preparing for a recession. It's from December 5th. Goldman Sachs private equity clients are not feeling good about the global economy. According to the bank's chairman of investment banking, every one of our clients is focused on being prepared for a recession. Allison Mass, speaking to Bloomberg TV, said that the bank's clients are creating checklists so that they could cope if a recession strikes. Goldman's own economists are more bullish on the economy in 2020, seeing a 20% chance of recession. Just putting that out there. For you people interested in the money stuff. I've never really followed that. You know, the global crash is coming. I mean, again, I've been around all this stuff for so many years, and I've seen so many people come and go from long ago that were always pushing the global economy is coming. It's going to crash, and you know, it's going to be the end. Martial law and da 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 da. You know, it's just forever. People have been saying that forever. Not saying it's not going to happen. Yeah, eventually they're going to have to transition everything over digitally. That's why people wait for that, and that's why people are expecting something to happen, because there has to be. I believe that for it all to shift over to a full-on digital currency, and that'll be the way they, you know, can fully control everybody. That'll be with the chipping and all the other stuff. You know, world's first HIV positive sperm bank launched an effort to reduce stigma. New Zealand has launched the world's first HIV-positive sperm bank in an effort to reduce the stigma around the virus. Online sperm bank Sperm Positive has begun with 3 HIV-positive male donors who all have undetectable viral load, meaning the virus cannot be passed on even through unprotected sex. While the amount of virus is in their blood is so low it cannot be detected by standard methods does not mean the HIV has been completely cured by treatment. According to health authorities, HIV-positive men can father children with minimal risk of transmission to their partner or their baby as long as they have up-to-date advice, support, and HIV medications. Anyway, this just seems weird. What are the people saying? Yeah, right. Great business plan. You can't make this stuff up. Good point. That's great. Conceive a child and condemn him or her to a life of constant medical treatment. So there's a stigma around HIV for a reason. I understand that treatment has come a very long way, and it's not necessarily a death sentence anymore. But why would someone want to even take the risk? It's 100% that if the person is considered undetectable virus level because of treatment, that it can't be passed on to a baby. I guess they're asking, is it? All good points so far. This must be why a lot of the more left kind of leaning news organizations online have been cutting out their comment sections. That's another thing I've noticed. I've seen a lot of that. This one's fun, kind of weird. Not even sure what exactly is happening right here. I'm not a sports guy. I don't even know who these guys are exactly. Let me see if it says on here. It says Bill Walton. This says Bill Walton smoked the best weed humanity has ever seen before this game. Maybe he did, I'm not sure. But what he says is kind of weird. Check this out. He just kind of starts going off on some strange tangents here.
Scaring all the little children away. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of little ones. I'll grind their bones and drink their blood. Oh my goodness. Our 9 grandchildren, they're terrified of me as well. Scaring all the little children away. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of little ones. I'll grind their bones and drink their blood.
Oof. Right? Says our 9 grandchildren are scared of me or terrified of me. Study shows there's nothing wacky about conspiracy theorists. Researchers at the Australian National University have delved into the world of online conspiracy theories, showing most of the people behind them are actually pretty ordinary. Hey, there you go. Hope for us yet, Chubbs. The study looked at 8 years of content, sifting through more than 2 billion comments posted on Reddit, including everything posted to the subreddit Conspiracy. Conspiracy covers everything from UFOs and 9/11 to political conspiracy theories like Pizzagate, which took off during the 2016 election. But despite the subject matter, lead author of the study, Dr. Colin Klein, says conspiracy theorists aren't always a bunch of crackpots wearing tinfoil hats. Thank you. Thanks, Doc. It's true. In the past, unfortunately, some of the most popular or the biggest ones always act like crackpots, don't they? Always seems to be a thing. But despite this, in the past, before the rise of online forums like Reddit, we tended to only hear about the most extreme views, and those people tended to naturally be wary about talking to someone else about their beliefs. These massive online forums paint a very different picture. The enormous set of comments we examined show many conspiracy users actually have more sensible interests. For example, conspiracy theories about police abuse of power are common. That's not so crazy. These people might believe false things, but with good reason, because similar things have happened in the past. Professor Klein and his team also found that while there are subtle differences in the language used by those who end up posting on conspiracy, it's not necessarily enough to set them apart from the other Reddit users. It says you might find that they talk more about power or power structures, but their language is not that different from what ordinarily goes on in a forum like politics. You can't distinguish them that way. It's very easy to look at conspiracy theories and think they're super wacky, and the people who believe in them are crazy, but it's actually much more continuous with a lot of things we do every day. Low-level theorizing goes on a lot in everyday life. I'm inclined to think that stuff you see online is just a strong outgrowth of that. According to Dr. Klein, forums like conspiracy can also be driven by current events. For example, Reddit attracted a whole new set of users following the election of Trump. He also generates quite a lot infighting amongst users, and this is what makes it such a great way to study social dynamics. The data also reveals how people can come to start posting on the conspiracy forum. The rise of internet echo chambers is a factor, but there's much more at play. We followed people who started using Reddit and posted for about 6 months before they ended up on conspiracy, Klein said. You find two people who, for example, both started on the popular Ask Me Anything Reddit, and one ends up talking about conspiracies and one doesn't. People who go on to post on conspiracy also tend to be overrepresented in the political forums, but it's not like they're hyper-focused. This suggests a more active process where people are seeking out sympathetic communities. This process of finding like-minded people is something we see a lot on the internet. I mean, that's one of the most reasonable articles I've ever read about so-called conspiracy theorists, right? It was nice. Thanks, Dr. Klein. And now there's this. Apparently, this is a new game called I Am Jesus Christ, where you get to be Jesus. So, yeah, you heard me right. So, let's check this out and see. Let's see what all the hubbub's about. Virtual reality. You gotta love, no matter what you think about it, you gotta love how they filmed it like they do in the movies. They save that last shot, that last shot, for the very end. How they do in all the new monster trailer movies. It's like they won't show you the monster, but at the very end, after a couple of credits, it'll usually be a woman like up against a wall and a monster's face right on her with big mouth opening, Anyway, they kind of did that with this. Whoa. I'm not sure what I think about this. I would never play it because I'm never going to get virtual reality myself. But I don't know. I feel weird about it, and I guess I'm still processing it. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about a game where you can walk as being as Christ and kind of perform miracles and stuff? I don't know. I just don't know, man. I don't know. Feels weird to me. Traffic cops pour whiskey in patrol car instead of antifreeze in viral video, then it insists it's a Christmas prank.
Нет, на самом деле хотел истинный мусорас. Хотел на Новый год оставить. Работа важнее. Замерзайте где-то. А что поделать? Нет, на самом деле я могу себе позволить. Работаем в стоишь в нашем месте. Ой, шикарный запашок. Вон есть.
I don't know. I kind of thought that'd be more interesting. It really wasn't that good. I don't see why that went viral. Anyway, crazy Russians. Forget sharks with lasers. NASA kits out an elephant seal with a center-studded skull cap. Can you see that picture very well? I wish I could make it bigger. NASA's science team is a new female recruit, and she's probing the watery depths of the Antarctic in a quest to help climate eggheads understand our climate. Armed with no prior research or any academic qualifications, just a metallic antenna strapped to its head, a southern elephant seal has been quietly helping scientists gather data in one of the world's most challenging environments. NASA researchers aren't cut out to battle the ocean around Antarctica, filled with wild, freezing currents that produce eddies that stretch just over 200 kilometers or 125 miles. They're trying to study the Antarctic circumpolar current, which flows in a loop around Antarctica through the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, but deep diving there is near impossible. Southern elephant seals, however, thrive under those conditions and spend most of the year at sea. Such seals dive deeper than many whales, with one tract going down 6,998 feet. Dang. In search of squid and fish. So a female specimen was captured and tagged with a sensor resembling a teeny metallic hat that measures the temperature, conductivity, and pressure of water in the Kerguelen area, a remote region in the southern Indian Ocean. It's pretty cool. I wish there's a bigger picture of it, though. Because no matter how fancy this job is that this animal's doing for NASA, it's still funny to look at this thing wearing some big middle antenna on top of its head. What's this one? Oh, okay, this is a bit of a doom break. This cat, the way it meows, it sounds like it's saying, well, hi, in a southern accent. You know, I like my cats, so let's see if I can make this bigger. I don't know if you could hear that. I hope you could, but anyway, I thought that was cute. Okay, here is UFO footage. Sorry about that, guys. I just slipped a little bit here. Let's try that again. I don't know, man. What do you guys think it could be? Most of the comments are all in Spanish, and I used to be pretty good at Spanish, but I'm not good enough to where I can read all those comments and make sense of them. Either way, I thought that was pretty cool looking. It reminded me of a few of the like the Elon Musk, I think it was satellites they launched over LA. Am I right? They launched something over LA. I think Elon had something to do with it, and they didn't announce it ahead of time. Do you remember when they did that? Not exactly the same, but it kind of reminds me of that. But this took place in another country, I believe. I think this, again, I can't. Oh, let's see, translation. It says, stay tuned for the signs of 6 of these things are not assembled to do with the return of Jesus. I like the theme, but it has to do that Jesus is not of this world. Everyone knows. He says he is not from this world where he comes to. If he is from another dimension or another world, this has to be well reviewed. I only know one thing. Jesus is coming back. We have to wake up. We live the last days. Just don't see who doesn't want. We just have to be careful. In the Bible, it says the Antichrist will hurt even the chosen. Okay, cool. Interesting. Very interesting. Portuguese, it says. Okay, so this must have been captured somewhere around that area, that region. Very interesting, right? The other thing, the other satellite deal, again, it came down in a different way as well. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is part of a Project Bluebeam thing. Maybe this is a separate thing altogether, and it is another spiritual sign. I've seen a lot of those. I've put a lot of those out on the channel that I find that I believe are spiritual in nature. So I know a lot of that stuff's happening. I've been saying it for years. You know, the veil's lifting. We're seeing a lot more of the strange activity, and we have. You know, a lot of it has increased. But, you know, then they have these weird rockets and this other strange stuff that the scientists are into, Elon Musk, and God only knows whoever else and what they're actually creating. But maybe they really are, preparing for some kind of a Project Bluebeam event. Maybe these really are real signs increasing. Florida woman buys baby bouncer, gets loaded semi-automatic rifle instead. There's the picture. Baby Einstein. The baby bouncer was intended to be a gift for a baby shower, but caused confusion when the father-to-be unearthed the rifle from the packaging. Wow. Veronica Alvarez Rodriguez told the Northwest Florida Daily News that she and her husband stopped by the store in Valparaiso, Florida last Sunday as they were on their way to a friend's baby shower. She stumbled upon a baby Einstein's baby bouncer, excuse me, that looked to be unopened and brand new for the reasonable price of $9.99. After purchasing what they thought was the gift, the couple went onto the shower in Crestview. Alvarez Rodriguez said the father-to-be was very excited when he opened the box. He shouted, "You guys got me a gun?" Alvarez said. Alvarez and her husband were horrified at the revelation. The gun's a Mossberg 715 semi-automatic rifle, and it was loaded with live ammunition. Wow. It's pretty crazy. There you go. How many of you are rushing out the door right now, live in that area, and trying to find baby Einstein baby bouncers for $10? TikTok admits suppressing fat, LGBT, and disabled video creators. Popular social networking app TikTok, which has garnered more than 1 billion downloads and whose individual videos reach up to 5.5 million people, has been placed under fire for suppressing content created by obese, LGBT, disabled, autistic, and other creators at a higher risk of cyberbullying. According to Slate, I don't like that already, man. That already sets all those people apart and makes them feel weird or weirder, you know? So I would think, according to Slate, examples of users susceptible to bullying or harassment, the policy listed people with facial disfigurement, autism, Down syndrome, and disabled people or people with some facial problems, such as a birthmark. Oh, have we really come to this? A slight squint, etc. Wow. This is kind of like almost like the social credit system. It reminds me of an element of something like that. that people are going to be set apart and treated differently if they don't look, quote, normal, right? The social networking app made the stunning admission after a German site found that TikTok moderators were asked to watch 15-second videos to see if certain content creators were more prone to bullying than others. The rules cause irritation on a very practical level. How is a moderator supposed to recognize whether someone has a disorder from the autistic spectrum based on 15 seconds of a video? This instruction is one of several incomprehensible rules that are as confusing to the moderators themselves as to outsiders. Even more fundamentally, however, the directive shows ignorance of the debates about the visibility of people with disabilities in the media. These debates have been led over the past few years, driven mainly by people themselves, or by the people themselves. While activists are calling for a barrier-free internet and visibility, TikTok has deliberately put barriers in place without those affected suspecting anything. If the creators were deemed to fit the susceptible to bullying or harassment criteria, moderators were instructed to flag these accounts as vulnerable. These flags, given by administrators, were designed to stop these videos from being aired to audiences outside their home countries. In some cases, their videos wouldn't show up on some foreign users' feeds entirely. Netzopolitik dredged up a list of flagged users, including creators with and without disabilities, whose user bios contain hashtags such as fat woman, disabled, or if they featured LGBT rainbow flags or anything associated with minority groups or activist movements, slogans pertaining to those groups. Wow. There you go. There you have it. Do any of you use TikTok? I bet a lot of your kids do. I think it's mainly for kids. Twitter censorship. Shadow banning is written into the platform's new terms. They're not even hiding it anymore. Twitter has written shadow banning, aka censorship, into their new terms. The platform will now intentionally limit the visibility of some users. Expect those who dissent from the official narrative to be the ones censored. Critics have accused Twitter of censorship for quite some time now, but this time it's official. The company has admitted that they will attempt to silence those critical of a ruling class. According to Russia Today, the news terms will be taking effect in January of 2020. While the new terms don't look like much to write home about, some tweaks to the language could have larger repercussions for users, limiting their reach behind the scenes without their knowledge. It says, last year when I spoke to Twitter reps, they lied and gaslighted us about their targeted manipulation of people's tweets. Now it's in their new terms of service. I guess this is it. It says, our services evolve constantly. As such, our services may change from time to time at our discretion. We may stop permanently or temporarily providing the services or any features within the services to you or to users generally. We also retain the right to create limits on use and storage at our sole discretion at any time. They're pulling a YouTube, man. We may also remove or refuse to distribute any content on the services. Here's the big one. That limit distribution, we may also remove or refuse to distribute any content on the services and limit distribution or visibility of any content on the service. And then there's suspend or terminate users and reclaim usernames without liability to you. So, yeah, they're pulling a YouTube, really. They're kind of laying it down. And then once they put this in place, then you'll see, most likely, you'll start seeing some channels, disappearing, or at least being heavily suppressed. So this is happening all over, man. While Twitter has previously insisted point blank, we do not shadow ban in the pre-2020 terms, the company split hairs between shadow banning and ranking posts to determine their prominence on the site, and acknowledged deliberately downranking bad faith actors to limit their visibility. Yeah. It's a spirit of censorship. Video, Cowboys and Bears fans fight after Chicago win. Ugh, this kind of stuff, man. This happens a lot too. Again, I don't watch sports, so count me out. I watch some of the UFC fights. That's about it. But I don't watch any other sports. But there's people in my family that are fanatical about sports, but I'm just not one of them. But this kind of stuff is just too much, man. Come on. Seriously, man. I mean, just think about it. It's a bunch of full-grown men. They're going to watch, Pepsi or Coke, Republican or Democrat. They're going to go watch their favorite team win or lose. They're going to go watch the game. And then we're going to act up like this afterwards. We're going to fight. We're going to fight about it, Oh, well, we get it. Bunch of tough guys. Tough guys. Amazon delivery driver's hilarious reaction to basket of treats outside Delaware home caught on video. Check this out.
And how a small act of kindness can go a long way. That moment you experience the kindness of a stranger.
Oh, this is nice.
And you can't contain your excitement.
Oh, they got some goodies.
This Amazon delivery driver couldn't believe these snacks left on a family's front doorstep in Middletown, Delaware were for him and the other men and women working overtime delivering holiday packages and parcels. Wait for it. Yep. Here's his happy dance that's now gone viral.
It completely made my day.
And this is the woman who created that magical moment.
These men and women work so hard to make shopping so easy for us.
Kathy Ouma says she does this every year. This time she was actually home to hear the driver's reaction. It was the gift she needed in that moment.
It was just in a car accident. I came home from the car accident without my car. I heard this noise outside and I heard, oh, this is nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fine now. Like, I'm all better. He completely made my day.
That man is Kareem Ahmed Reed of Wilmington, Delaware.
Hi, Miss Kathy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We were there tonight as the pair talked for the first time over the phone.
She made my entire week.
Aww.
The feeling of happiness and gratitude is mutual. In fact, it's contagious. Small acts of kindness can have a huge impact on our lives. Kathy knows.
I work in a cardiac cath lab, and we see every day what love and kindness does to the human heart and what lack of love and kindness does to the human heart.
And for Kareem, that kindness gets his heart pumping and his body dancing. Reporting for Fox 29, I'm Jennifer Joyce.
That was nice. Love that. Pastor receives a death threat, loses his job for suggesting pride events can be damaging to kids. The Christian pastor has received a death threat after suggesting that certain gay pride events can be harmful for children. Posting a message taken largely from a tweet by Rhode Island Bishop Thomas Tobin, UK-based pastor Keith Waters suggested that Christians should not be supportive of events that are held in honor of LGBTQ Pride Month. A reminder that Christians should not support or attend LGBT Pride Month. Events held in June, Waters noted they promote a culture and encourage activities that are contrary to Christian faith and morals. They are especially harmful to children. Almost immediately, Waters, who is from the cathedral city of Ely, Cambridgeshire, was met with a deluge of threatening replies on Twitter. But as the unpleasant backlash gained momentum online, the threats soon spilled out beyond the digital sphere. According to a press release from British advocacy group Christian Concern, Waters experienced a string of threats, including his wife having to answer the door to funeral directors who had been sent to arrange his funeral.
Did I think it was inappropriate because of my role in the school to tweet when I tweeted? No, because I tweeted it. If a pastor can't say the things that I'm saying and not find themselves in the kind of trouble I found myself in, then I'm not sure who can. You don't have to look very far to Google Pride events, and you will come up with photographs of people who are naked, people who are engaged in sexual acts. There's one here which actually I won't show you because it's got so much nudity that it's really inappropriate. The whole thrust of the tweet was about keeping children safe and protected, but instead I was accused of being a child molester. We had estate agents calling, telling us they were making appointments to sell the house, people coming around to the house wanting to arrange my funeral. I don't feel I was treated fairly because I believe that the school were taking what they thought was the path of least resistance. I could see that I had no choice. They didn't want me in the school, that was clear.
There's a guy that's really, really putting in the fight, isn't he? The guy that's really fighting right there. Didn't even do much. Yeah, that's the world we're in now. He just put out a tweet. It didn't stop there, however. Soon Waters was being called up by local estate agents who had been informed that he was moving away from the area. Unbelievable. In a hurry. Another incident saw the pastor knocked off his bike by an angry local resident in the car who wanted to remonstrate with him, whatever that means. I never heard of remonstrate. You know what that means? If that wasn't bad enough, the advocates out to ruin him started spreading rumors that he was a child molester and that there was even calls from local counselors for him to be investigated by police for a hate incident. We get it. I mean, this is the way demons work. You know, demons are working through people, you know, and these are the nasty little games that they play. You know, it's a spirit. I believe it's a spirit that's spreading. It's something I've been watching grow over the years, you know, since I've been around. Here's a pretty cool UFO video. I'm not sure what this is. At first, I thought it might be one of those signs being pulled by an airplane, but he even mentions in here that, you know, it's nothing like that, and you don't see it attached to anything else. If it's a drone, it's huge. You got to consider how far away it is, and look how big it is even now to our eyes. So whatever this thing is, it's really, really big. It kind of looks like it's square-shaped, and it's floating through the sky. So let's watch some of this, shall we?
Go, guys. What is this right here? This just went over South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. To me, it looks like it's headed, I don't even know, southwest, I guess. But I don't have a clue what that is. It's definitely not a plane. It's definitely square or rectangle in nature to me. I don't see any plane in front of that, like pulling a big advertisement placard. I don't know what that is, guys. I want to keep filming it. I have no clue what that is, except something moving very slow. It's definitely not a plane. It's definitely very square or rectangle. My daughter, who is with me, we are convinced that this is possibly a UFO. Man, but I mean, this is broad daylight in Phoenix. There has to be somebody on the west side of Phoenix getting some video of this, if this is something out of the ordinary. Has to be. Because I'm out towards Maricopa on the 347 looking over South Mountain. It's coming to the end of South Mountain, but it's definitely on the Phoenix side of the mountain. Very, 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 very interesting. Slow moving.
What do you guys think? I mean, you have any idea? What do you think that could be? It was interesting you mentioned Phoenix, Arizona. There's a whole history out in Phoenix, Arizona of amazing sightings. Like, they get a lot of sightings out there. You can look this up. You know, it really sucks. I've been looking up stuff for the scariest movie ever made, part 2. You know, I'm putting it together now. I'm putting a lot of time in on this. And it's so hard to find the clips that I want. It's so hard to find the ones I need, because they really do push nothing but mainstream sources on everything. So no matter what it is you're looking for, even if it's some random kind of title, like some of the weird stuff I look for, you're still going to get mainstream sources that just don't match anything. It's terrible. Like, they really have broken YouTube in that way. But there's a guy, I think his name's Jeff Woolbine or Woolline. He used to put up a lot of really, really interesting footage out of Phoenix, Arizona of crazy things they were seeing in the skies out there. There's also a lot of cave drawings and etchings out there on the rocks and the mountains that correspond with a lot of sightings that they see out there. It's very interesting history. And speaking of the flying humanoids, they get a lot of sightings out there of flying humanoids as well. And a lot of people think that it has something to do with the old gods. And it even matches up with some of the etchings and the drawings out there as well. So, whole interesting study you can do if you're interested in sightings and some strange stories. Check out Phoenix, Arizona. Good luck, but you'll eventually stumble on some of this stuff. Jeff is one of the guys out there. A lot of people put up footage from there, but one of them is Jeff Woolwine or Woolbine, WOOL something. Hope that helps. Bear eludes capture, causes uproar in Wilmington neighborhood. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I think there's a couple of videos of this. I thought there was some pictures. Here we go.
The bear's in our backyard! The bear's in our backyard! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh, mama! There it is! Holy fuck! Holy fuck! The bear's in our fucking yard! Holy shit! Yo! Oh, mama! Oh, there it is! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh, holy shit! The bear's on the fucking back porch! Oh my god! Holy no way! No way! Bear watch! Holy mama! Look at that thing! Dog! Dog! The bear! No way! No way! No way!
That guy was freaking out. I think there's some more. There's some pictures here. All right, cool. I don't know what's happening. Don't know what's happening with that. I don't know how that helps anything.
Oh shit, here it is. Looks like they got a shot on him.
I hope it's just a tranquilizer. Like, there's no need to shoot him at this point. There's absolutely no need.
Look, he's coming back over shit. There he is again.
Oh, there he is.
Well, the state of Pennsylvania is assisting our brothers and sisters in Delaware, Natural Resource Police, with this bear. They don't have a trap right now available, so we're lending them our trap. So we just transferred it over to them so they can set the trap.
What's the plan now? What's the plan? This thing was. Tell us about it being hit. It was hit.
We did hit it with one dart, and it was in the backyards in the Wilmington neighborhood. The dart, when the bear was running through the fences, jumping over decks and stuff, the dart came out. So it didn't look like much got into the bear. It didn't get too lethargic. So then it ran into Brandywine River down here, and the state park we're in. I think it's Alapuca State Park. So now it's in a wooded area. It's much better than downtown Wilmington. So at this point, we're just monitoring, seeing if anybody sees it. If you see the bear, contact Department of Natural Resource Police in Delaware here. And they're the lead agency, so they're going to be handling the situation. We just assisted them, and now that they have the situation under control, we're just going to go back to Pennsylvania unless needed.
You saw the bear yourself? Did you see it today? Were you out there? Yeah, I mean, it's a big bear. I mean,
it's a small bear for Pennsylvania standards.
It's a big bear for Charlie Square.
You're right. It's a 200-pound bear, so it's in Pennsylvania they can be up to 800 pounds. Yeah. So it's a small bear.
What's the game plan now? You mentioned something about a potential setting a trap to get this thing.
All right, that's good enough. I was kind of hoping there'd be some more footage of the bear. Moving on. Study: drinking wine is more important than exercise to living past 90. Most of you surely won't dream of living forever, but every one of us would. I don't want to live here forever, but every one of us would like to live long enough to be able to watch his grandchildren grow or even meet his great-grandkids. Being able to add more candles to the birthday cake every year would be amazing. So we're here to tell you that it's actually possible in a certain delicious way. Scientists struggle to find out the secret to living longer throughout the ages, and a 2003 study named the 90-plus study tried the same. By studying the oldest old, which is becoming the fastest growing age group in the world. The oldest old? Never heard of that before. Researchers used the data from a 1981 study named the Leisure World Cohort Study. When 14,000 participants were mailed surveys they had to fill out. The team of experts was trying to answer several questions to determine the factors linked to longer life and the modifiable risk factors for dementia and mortality, and to examine the epidemiology of dementia, the rates of cognitive and functional decline, and the clinical pathological correlations in the oldest old. Participants did neurological and neurophysiological tests twice annually, and information about their medical history, diet, activities, medications, and lifestyle habits were carefully collected by the researchers. Among the other findings, researchers found that those who drank alcohol in moderate amounts lived longer than the others. Using data from our 1981 survey, people who consumed 1 to 2 glasses of alcohol, beer, wine, or hard liquor per day had 9 to 15% lower likelihood of dying compared to those who abstained from all alcohol. Participants who exercised 15 to 45 minutes a day in 1981 cut the same risk of mortality by 15 to 35%. Interesting, eh? I'm not a drinker myself, but I do like the exercise. Ex-NFL star Larry Johnson suggests Dwayne Wade is a Freemason, sacrificed his son in latest rant. I don't know if there's video with this or not. I guess not. Former All-Pro running back Larry Johnson targeted former NBA star Dwayne Wade on social media Wednesday. Johnson, who has sounded off about the Bible and alleged an effeminate agenda in the NFL and NBA, accused Wade of sacrificing his son to the doctrines of demons. Johnson piled on after Wade was catching heat last week for allowing his 12-year-old son to wear nail polish and a crop top. I didn't see what the issue with Wade's family photo was all about. His Twitter, Avi, is him symbolically standing with his hands in a pyramid. Freemasons believe in sacrificing a child or their child to the doctrines of demons, doing what he's told for worldly wealth, he wrote. He included a picture of several wealthy celebrities posing with their hands in a triangle, including Michelle Obama, Steve Harvey, and members of the ABC TV show Shark Tank. He suggested that the triangle shape means those wealthy elite are in the secret Freemasons group. Wade's Instagram profile picture is him in a robe with his hands together in a diamond shape. There's the picture. We've seen these pictures before. Johnson was among the top running backs in the NFL before stepping away after the 2011 season. He was arrested several times for assaulting women and was suspended by the NFL in 2009 for hurling an anti-gay slur. As of late, he's made questionable statements on his social media account and claims he broke the devil's hold on my soul. Last month, he tweeted he would hope to rue the day when the lukewarm discover who the real people of the Bible are and how Christmas is just a pagan belief. He also tweeted a screenshot of other gods who are said to be born on December 25th, followed by a theory about Satan working with the Catholic Church. And with all that, except for the fake Jesus stuff, that stuff's already been debunked. Earlier this year, Johnson sounded off on a supposed effeminate agenda in the NFL and NBA, and he claimed high-ranking Freemasons are involved. Interesting. First comment. Somebody telling the truth about Freemasons and what goes on in this world, because these atheists and fake Christians have no clue. But your time's coming to meet God and find out you've been wrong all along. Even Jesus Christ preaches on this. Repent. All right. This is just a short clip. This is from Mavi777's channel here. It's like a 12-minute long video, but I'm just going to show a short clip here of a pretty interesting anomaly in the sky.
C'est quoi ça? Il y a un truc dans le ciel, je sais pas c'est quoi. Oui. Il y a un ovni dans le ciel. Je jure, je sais pas c'est quoi. Tout à l'heure, je regarde, je sais pas c'est quoi.
Flying humanoid.
C'est quoi?
It's flying humanoid.
Il y a un truc dans le ciel, je sais pas c'est quoi.
It's in France.
Oui. Il y a un ovni dans le ciel. Je jure, je sais pas c'est quoi. Tout à l'heure, je regarde, je sais pas c'est quoi. C'est quoi ça, wesh? C'est quoi? C'est quoi?
Look at that, man, for real. I mean, I showed you guys one a few weeks ago. It looked like a man or a human type figure sitting in a lotus position with their arms down to their sides, flying through the sky. And that was, I think, in Brazil. And now you got this thing here in France that looks oddly shaped, kind of human form. It moves around and changes its shape a little bit.
C'est quoi, wesh?
Cool, huh? Interesting. Okay, here's another one. This is a clip. I'm going to play this for a few minutes. It's just and it's from Public Freakouts, Public Freakout compilation, December 5th. And it's Public Freakout Videos channel. They get some good stuff, and a lot of times they get people who are just triggered, man. Just people just getting triggered over all kinds of just nonsense out there. Just freaking out. I mean, tearing stores apart, starting fights with people over nothing. But here's an example of the person who's holding the camera. I feel like this is what the New World Order wants all of us men to be. And women, really, but just a victim. You're very much in a victim mentality, right? Check this out.
Keep your space.
I'm not even close to you.
Keep your space.
I'm not even close to you. You brought dog.
No, you're sitting here threatening me.
No,
Keep your space.
I'm not threatening you.
Keep your space.
Right over here.
They are service animals.
No,
Keep your space. Keep your space.
You're a liar.
Keep your space. Keep your space. Keep your space. What apartment are you in? What apartment are you in? What apartment are you in? What? No. What apartment are you in? What apartment are you in?
None of your business. I'm not breaking the law. You are.
Hey, call the police, sir. Please. I'm being harassed. I have them on video. Please call the police. That is not your business. They are service animals.
They're not service. They're not even, they have no coats on them.
Call the police.
Call the police, please. I can't get across.
We didn't stop you from getting across.
Yes, I'm walking backwards. I'm walking backwards. You're keeping on coming at me.
And what am I going to do?
I've got you on video.
How close have I gotten to
Please let me cross the bridge. Please let me cross the bridge. Please let me cross the bridge. Hey, sir, please call the police. Do you have your phone, kid? Please call the police. Please call the police.
Yeah, only bikers and rollerbladers. You've had 2 people now say no dog.
Please, you know what? You're fixing to get sued, lady.
What?
For harassing me. They are registered service animals. I've told you over and over. Let me cross the bridge.
You did not ask us.
Let me cross the bridge.
You did not.
I've asked you 15 times now. Let me cross the bridge.
You never said it.
Not,
You're videotaping yourself.
I'm not coming towards you when you've approached me the way you have been. Please give me room. There's no reason for you to have to stand there.
There's plenty of room for you to go with your 2 dogs illegally.
Hey, I was up there at Stanford. You hear me?
Anyway, there you go. I thought that was a good example of somebody just getting triggered, freaking out. Speaking of people getting triggered, Joe Biden is seriously the gift that just keeps giving. I think this might be the 4th week in a row we've got a fresh Joe Biden clip where he's just falling apart in public. The reason I'm so fascinated with this stuff, it's beyond a political thing. It's just, like I said last week to you guys, man, watch this guy and think to yourself that at one point for 8 years, right, for 8 years of our lives, this guy on the surface level, we know there's hidden controllers, so to speak, but on the surface level, this guy was essentially the 2nd most powerful man in the world, right? I mean, he's the vice president, and that's kind of the setup, right? And America is the leader in so many ways. So essentially, Joe Biden was the 2nd most powerful person in the world on the surface. I know there's way more powerful behind it. I get that. I'm just saying that if something had ever happened to Obama, that this guy might have been the president of America. That's the stuff that fascinates me, you know, especially with him. Just such a terrible example. This guy is of any kind of leadership or anything good. Not even a decent human, you know, I feel. Anyway, check this out.
One last question. Yes, and then I'm going to ask if any student has a question over there, and any one from St. Joe's.
Yep. Joe, I'm an old Iowa retired farmer. I'm kind of unique because I'm not a Republican. Okay. I've got 2 problems with you. One, you're 10 years old as I am. You're too old. I'm 83, and I know damn well I don't have the mental faculties I did when I was 30 years old. All right, the other, forget that stuff. That's all.
I'm not forgetting that. I'll answer it.
I got a question I want you to answer. We all know Trump has been messing around in the Ukraine over there, holding their foreign aid for them to come out saying they're going to investigate you. We know all about that, right? And he's no back over after that. But you, on the other hand, that's your son over there. You get a job and work for a gas company that he had no experience with gas or nothing. In order to get access to the public, for the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he was. So you
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that. No one has heard that.
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. By the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I didn't
one.
say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company.
You did.
Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC.
You don't hear that on MSNBC. You did not hear that at all. What you heard? Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man.
Well, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you do. But look, here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does. What you're
Let him talk.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you stand up and vote for you? You're too old to vote for me. All right, here we go.
I don't know. I think there's a couple clips actually. So you may have seen this one. This has made its rounds, but that's still a good example of him just being a freaking goofball. Police say mom hit student on head with taser during middle school fight. There's mom. A Florida mother accused of hitting a student on the head with a stun gun during a fight at her daughter's middle school has been charged with child abuse. Susan Mary Stossmeyer was charged with 2 felonies, abuse and possession of a weapon on school property, to an arrest report. Strassheimer's daughters got into a fight with multiple students late Monday afternoon at Azalea Middle School in St. Petersburg. Strassmeyer, 42, involved herself in a physical fight by striking the victim numerous times on the back of the head from behind while holding a purple taser. Numerous students witnessed the fight, police said. Police also obtained video taken during the fight. The victim suffered minor head injuries, according to the police. Tampa Bay Times reports Strassheimer was also charged with violating her probation on a previous criminal mischief charge. Hi, Mom. I love you. Teen shot dead in murder-suicide by mom's boyfriend, Paul Ferguson. This is just tragic. And I guess I wanted to include this because this is a time of year where they always say there's an increase in suicidal thoughts, and depression, and things like this. And I know there's probably people out there listening right now, or maybe later once this is uploaded, that maybe you're going through a bad season right now. You know, maybe things aren't so great. And we've all been there. You know, it's always a mix. You know, there's good and there's bad, right? But you got to work yourself through those rough times. And sometimes stories like this, in a very melancholic way, can kind of help. At least let you know that there's always somebody out there that's worse off.
We have an update now to that breaking news we've been following all morning long out of Watertown, and it's a sad update. We've just learned that the 2 teens injured in a triple shooting have both died.
That's right. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Carolina Cruz is in Watertown now with the update. Carolina?
Yeah, those teens, 15 and 16, police confirmed they have both died. And then they also confirmed that the boyfriend, the teen's mom's boyfriend, he also died from a gunshot wound. We know that they've spent the majority of the night into this morning here at the home where all of this unfolded. So police, they first responded to this home out on Litchfield Road yesterday before 11, and they received a 911 call from the teen's mom saying that her boyfriend shot the 2 kids. And so now again, we know that those teens, 15 and 16, they have died. Police will be giving another update around 9 this morning, so you can stay tuned for those.
So just as a recap, I mean, here's a woman that was dating a man, brought this guy into her life, apparently living with her. She has 2 kids of her own, 15 and 16. Something went down between those 3, and her boyfriend kills her 2 children and then himself. I'm pretty sure he did it himself, right? Let's see. Yeah, then he apparently committed suicide, it says. So, rough, right? That's rough. Anyway, felt the need to share. Let's see, where am I on this? There's something I wanted to show you before I showed you this here. Well, there was a story, and I thought I had it set up. Let me see. Yeah, I had a story all set up for you guys, and it had to do with Michael Jackson. There's a new musical out about Michael Jackson, and it has something to do with aliens. Like somehow they're saying that aliens set Michael Jackson up, but the aliens are in the shape of a giant bespectacled glove. You know, he always had the one glove with all the glitter and whatnot, you know, all over it. So apparently that's kind of the setup, and you can look that up for yourself. It's a real thing. It's a musical about Michael Jackson, but it reminded me of something, and this is one of those things that I finally found. It took me a while. It looks like somebody else re-uploaded it. Species re-uploaded it in 2018. The original catch of this was uploaded way back in like 2013, whenever this video first came out of Michael Jackson. Right after it came out, some other guy uploaded a video where he captured what I'm about to show you here on this video, and it's Michael Jackson's eyes, and it looks like a gray alien. It looks like an alien's eyes, and it's not a special effect that put them there on purpose. This is, you can even go watch the actual video. I've done it before, because throughout the years I showed you that clip. If I had anything to do with Michael Jackson or connected to this somehow, I would show you that clip throughout the years. So I knew it was out there. I couldn't find the original. That may be one of those channels that disappeared, you know, got taken down. But I'm glad this guy at least put it up. So this is a real thing. Like I said, you can go look at the actual video and see this happen for yourself. You Rock My World from Michael Jackson. There it is. So if you want, go look up You Rock My World from Michael Jackson, the music video, and just watch the sequence for yourself, and you'll see this. Look at that. Close up. I mean, is that him, his true form? Some people may say it's just it's just an effect or a glitch or something goofy happened, you know. There's going to be those excuses, but you know, what if he really was something else? And what if he really was a so-called demon in disguise? Or maybe this is an example of a tear. I don't know. It's interesting, though, to me. Wild, huh? You can find that on Species channel. Or no, that's on Fabrice Ramasamy. Fabrice Ramasamy. Look up Species, Alien Black Eyes, Michael Jackson music video, and you'll find it. U.S. Army prepares biggest deployment to Europe in 25 years. That's from December 10th, today. In 2020, the U.S. Army will be carrying out its biggest deployment in 25 years into Europe. The deployment will send 20,000 U.S. troops and 15,000 pieces of equipment across Europe. Or is it 13,000? Maybe it's 13. It's all for war games beginning in May and running through June. U.S. General Christopher Cavoli would not define the operation as aimed at Russia, but did tie it into Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea, saying it changed everything. The large deployment will be difficult. That's because, as with most recent operations, the U.S. will be sending forces largely into former Warsaw Pact countries, and those countries have railroads incompatible with Western Europe. Moreover, the bridges in those countries were built without envisioning having to support the heaviest of U.S. tanks. According to General Cavoli, the largest deployment of U.S. troops is meant to demonstrate the U.S. military's ability to quickly deploy a large force. This comes amid constantly escalating rhetoric against Russia. Love is love, so they say. Media glamorizes polyamorous relationship of one woman, 4 bros. Oof. Okay, I guess there's a little video. Maybe we can watch some of that.
This is Tori. She fell in love with Travis. And Ethan. And Mark. And Chris.
That's all I need to see. We get it. We understand. It's just another example of what's happening is the roles of men and women are being changed in this world. Everything's changing. The way men and women view each other. I've got another thing coming up here in a little bit, but that's why you've seen such a rise in these subcultures, like men going their own way. Then on the other end of the spectrum, there's incel crowds, stuff like this. There's a lot happening in Japan with the young men as well. I've covered it in some videos. We've seen some stories here on the show before. But a lot of the young men in Japan have given up on romantic relationships, and they just focus on time with friends, their projects, playing video games and stuff like that. You know, they gave up. A lot of people just given up. It's not just those fellas. It's people all over the world. It's the rise of third wave feminism. We've seen a lot of this. So that's tearing at the fabric of man plus woman love for sure. The Me Too movement, a lot of that stuff did need to be exposed. But then from that, just more branches have grown and grown and grown. There's elements of that I think it's great. It's good to see evil exposed. But it's funny how it's all just lining up together, right? It's all coming up together, and just more and more it divides us into groups against each other. Christian statue stolen from Swedish church, cut into pieces. A statue of Mary Magdalene has been found cut into pieces after it disappeared from a church in Gothenburg, Sweden. The bronze figure, which stood nearly 6 feet in height and weighed over 440 pounds, was stolen from a custom-built cave outside Mary Magdalene Catholic Assembly on Hisingen Island, which makes part of the Gothenburg metro area. Authorities were recently notified that the statue had been found by utility workers carved into 6 pieces. Washington, D.C. traffic grinds to a halt as Extinction Rebellion shouts, "We trust Bill Nye." Oof. You can't make this stuff up. Bill Nye.
Climate change is not a lie. We trust Bill Nye. Climate change is not a lie. Climate change is not a lie. We trust Bill Nye. Climate change is not a lie.
Foolishness. More Texas children now leaving foster care than entering. Adoptions hit record number. Just wanted to share that story there. Let's see, maybe there's a little clip we can watch.
Tarrant County Family Law Center almost every day, and if we're being honest, usually the tears are of sadness, but not today. Today happens to be the happiest day of the year for these courts. Photojournalist Mike Kinney explains how today they put the family back in family law.
The solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
This is our favorite day of the year because unfortunately in child welfare a lot of days you don't have smiles.
Are you promising to love Bethany forever?
Yes.
Today is National Adoption Day, and we are celebrating the adoptions of several families today. Do you understand that adoption is like a promise?
Yes.
Today is such an exciting day. It's a culmination of so much work on behalf of so many organizations to see a happy outcome for these kids that have waited a really long time for their forever family.
My pleasure and privilege to grant this adoption. It's very moving for me. Sometimes I get all choked up also because the families are getting choked up.
It has been a very, very long road trying to start a family, but it's all worth it today.
Getting a new family and all that, just basically like a second chance.
Say, hi, this is my new family. I'm the new real McCoy. In the family court, this is our happiest day. It's the only happy thing I really do.
It was amazing. It's probably the best moment ever.
I forgot. All right, buddy. All right, family, you promise to spoil them rotten? All right.
You never imagine how your life is going to change, and you think it's one way, and then you meet this amazing little boy, and it's a whole new story in your life, and we're excited to begin with it.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah. There we go.
just being able to be a mother to someone else, adding to our family, is just amazing to me. I love being a mother. It's a dream come true.
All right, that was a sweet one. That was a sweet story. And now there's this. Now these kids in, where is this? Peru? Yeah, students in Peru are posing as jokers. They're rising up, fighting against free public transport, or for free public transport. But again, isn't it interesting? And I've done videos in this, the rise of the nihilism and the rise of the Antichrist spirit in this respect. And we really see it here manifesting, right? Through all these different movements. Now you literally have kids dressing up like the Joker and fighting the police. It's all over. I need to sometime just put all this together and just look at it as a whole, because I feel like it's like everywhere in the world's popping off right now with some kind of an uprising and people rioting in the streets. Here's another really cool one. This is just captured a couple days ago, December 7th, somewhere over California. And it's a really good capture of one of these, again, a flying humanoid, for lack of a better term. And I've seen this type before. This type's been around in the past. You'll see what I mean. It looks like a guy wearing a jetpack or something. There it is. But then it changes shape. Yeah, they finally had that shot right there where it looks like a guy wearing a jetpack or something. It's weird. Right? Isn't that weird? But then it kind of changes shape a few times as well. So, maybe it's another one of these shape-shifting beings, demons up in the atmosphere. I don't really need to play a lot of this for you. I think you get the gist. But this is a thing where Madonna's daughter apparently was involved in this. It says the Desigual show in Miami, and this is like a fashion show, ended with Lourdes Ciccone Leone, which is Madonna's daughter, and a bunch of models entangled in a multicultural orgy, and a multicultural orgy with guests in white paper jumpsuits. And this is very much, when I see this, I do think Days of Noah type stuff. They're not naked, but they're all wearing like skin suits and stuff. But you get the gist. We understand, Monkey pig hybrids created by Chinese scientists. Chinese scientists have successfully bred monkey-pig hybrids as part of research into the growth of human organs for transplantation in animals. Although the 2 chimera piglets died within a week of being born, both are found to have DNA from macaque monkeys in their heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and skin. They were bred from more than 4,000 embryos, which were implanted into a sow using IVF. A team from the State Key Laboratory of Stem Cell and Reproductive Biology in Beijing. That is a long title. That is a long title. Where do you work? I work at the State Key Laboratory of Stem Cell and Reproductive Biology in Beijing. How about you? YMCA? So the genetically modified monkey cells to produce a fluorescent protein, allowing the researchers to track the cells and descendant cells. These modified cells were injected into the pig embryos 5 days after fertilization. Craziness. I guess that's one of them. Girl, 5 years old. This is epic. Girl, 5 years old, carries a toddler half a mile in minus 35-degree weather with no shoes on after Alaska blackout. Alone and frightened by an electricity blackout, a shoeless 5-year-old child carried her younger sibling half a mile to a neighbor's house in negative 31 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's cold, cold. Alaska state troopers were called after welfare concerns were raised for the 2 children in Veneti, a village in the northwestern American state. The 5-year-old and the 18-month-old arrived at the neighbor's home suffering from injuries relating to the cold weather. They had been dressed only in socks and light clothing. Julie Peter, 37, has been arrested on suspicion of endangering the welfare of a child. In a statement, the State of Alaska Department of Public Safety said, Julie Peter, 37 years old, of Veneti, was arrested on 1 count of endangering the welfare of a minor in the 1st degree as a result of the investigation, which revealed she deserted a 5-year-old and 18-month-old in their home with no adult supervision. It continued, the 5-year-old became scared when the power went out and carried the 18-month-old approximately half a mile while dressed in socks and light clothing to the neighbor's house. Veneti is a small village with a population of around 175 people. It's approximately 155 miles north of Fairbanks, Alaska. That's epic. That is epic stuff. That mommy messed up. This one really made the big news. Don't need to cover a lot about it. You probably heard about this art piece that sold for $120,000, they said. It was a banana taped to a wall, and then some guy came along. He was apparently a performance artist, and he pulled the banana down and ate it. I guess this is some of the... Christine Lagarde. Let me go ahead and translate this for us. Christine Lagarde from the International Monetary Fund. I've put her in some videos in the past. She did an interesting speech about numbers and numerology and the occult during one of her speeches one time, which was really eye-opening because, again, that stuff's important for us to see, I think, because it gives us more solid proof, that these people really are practitioners. A lot of these people really do understand these concepts. And a lot of these people truly are Luciferian, or connected to some other secret society group, Masons or Illuminati, if you will. But Christine Lagarde is now saying old people live too long and there's a risk to the global economy. Something has to be done. So we're starting to see talk like this. That's another one of those things we see in all of those future dystopian movies and novels that are so grim, but that always seems to be a part of it, is that ageism, that people don't get to age out, they're cut off earlier in life. Again, it goes back to Logan's Run's another one, that in that Logan's Run movie, which is based on a book, everybody in the society had to sacrifice themselves to the state at the age of 30, and they had this massive ritual where everybody floated up into, I can't remember. I know they're floating, but how did they die? Were they getting sucked up into something? Do you guys remember Logan's Run? But they have these little, they had these little gemstones or whatever implanted in their hands, and when they turned 30, they'd start going beep, beep, beep. Maybe not exactly like that, but a light would start flashing, and that's when they knew they had to sacrifice themselves. So anyway, and it was weird. It's a pretty weird movie. I need to revisit it. I still want to do a thing where me and Casey from Into the Stars get together and maybe watch that at the same time on a live broadcast with you guys, and we can kind of pick things apart from it, because there's a lot to look in there. But anyway, there you go. This was a little civil disobedience. I figured I'd share this one. It's this guy, Owen Schroyer, confronts Jerry Nadler and the Democrats at the scam impeachment hearing. I'll just play this for you. He's, I think he's connected to the big man from Austin somehow. Owen Schroyer is. But anyway, I thought this was pretty good. Check this out.
Jerry Nadler and the Democrat Party are committing treason against this country. And you can kick me out, but he's the one committing crimes. You are, Jerry Nadler. You're the one committing treason. America's done with this. America's sick of the treason committed by the Democrat Party. We're not going to sit here and watch you run an impeachment scam and remove our vote. We voted for Donald Trump, and they're simply removing him because they don't like him. Americans are sick of your impeachment scam. They're sick of the Democrat treason. We know who committed the crimes, and it wasn't Trump. Trump is innocent.
Anyway, there was that. Oh, I can make this smaller. Oh, that's the wrong way. Let's try this. There we go. All right, there you go. So there was that. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with all that stuff. I'm not keeping up with all that. Most of us, see through it, see it for what it is. And it's a shame that it's just gotten this insane, but it's also, to me, kind of a blessing that it's all finally coming out in the open. Let's just get it all out there, get all the stuff, let it all get exposed, all of it, including all their hatred and all their nastiness and the games and all this stuff. Just get it all out there, man. Let it all get exposed. Why not? Feds scramble after Las Vegas shooter's girlfriend lists FBI as place of employment on her loan application. Says she might have been an asset. Mary Lou Danley, the girlfriend of Las Vegas Bang Bang, Mr. Paddock, worked for the FBI, according to credit application data the Australian National reported as part of a loan application. That's the same Danley whose fingerprints were found on Paddock's hoard of ammunition packed into unused rifle magazines. Publicly available intelligence obtained from consumer credit reporting bureaus showed Danley claimed the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, as her place of employment. It's an interesting revelation. When contacted Friday, one FBI source said the Bureau might have made payments to Danley, but it is above my level, the source said, referring to access to the FBI's confidential informant, participant, and payment records. The source said bosses are concerned with the new revelations about Danley's financial relationship with the FBI. So in FBI speak, Danley could have been a paid asset. And concerned means folks are getting ready to cover their own butts if payments were made to Danley either before or after the massacre. That's interesting. Apparently this is a picture of it from Mary Lou Danley. Very interesting. That whole case was very interesting. I covered some of the kind of occult sides of that. But even beyond the symbolism, there was just a lot of weird information surrounding that whole situation, I'll say. Pause this and let's see what story they're hiding from us. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you've probably heard about this. There was an unfortunate incident in Pensacola. There was a bang on a base. But I thought this was interesting. Saudi Pensacola shooter was left infuriated after instructor nicknamed him Porn Stash due to his mustache in front of his classmates and filed an official complaint earlier this year. The Saudi airman who killed 3 at a naval training center in Pensacola filed a complaint earlier this year against an instructor who called him Porn Stash. Saudi Royal Air Force Second Lieutenant Mohammed Saeed El Shamani lodged a complaint in April against the instructor who gave him the nickname in reference to his mustache in front of 10 other students. I was infuriated as to why he would say that in front of the class, he wrote. The FBI declined to comment on the incident, but they are coming under increasing pressure to deliver answers on the motive behind the shooting at the U.S. base. The Bureau said Sunday it will be investigated as a potential act of terrorism as authorities explore whether the gunman's sickening actions were spurred by a radical ideology. But I know you're waiting for it, and here it is. Porn stash, right? The thing that kind of caught me about this, I was in the U.S. Coast Guard. I was active duty for 8 years of my life, and I went through boot camp. But worse than that, I went through my first tour was on a boat in Alaska. I've told some of y'all the story in the past. I've talked all about it in the past, but I was on a construction tender. It was a buoy tender in Kodiak Island, Alaska, and the way that they treated us when you got there, I mean, boot camp had nothing on these people. The real boot camp started for us when we started on that boat. It was crazy. It was almost like being on a pirate ship. It was brutal, and no one listened to you. There's no reason to, complain about anything. Nobody cared. Anyway, it was pretty intense. But even then, that's very much a military kind of a thing, is you give each other nicknames, and sometimes you don't like those nicknames, but that just stood out when I saw this story. I was like, wow, I remember that. I never had a nickname personally I couldn't handle. I gave people some nicknames that they didn't like. So, I get that, but I just thought it was, I think it goes beyond porn stash, but wouldn't that be interesting if that was really the only reason, like the main reason he finally flipped, because some jerk meathead, that had rank on him, gave him the title porn stash, just being a jerk, and this eventually triggered this kid to do some really terrible things. Anyway. Okay, this one right here. Oof. I hope you're ready. I'm really proud of this young man for posting this, though, too. Good for him, good for him. So it kind of speaks for itself, but it's interesting how a lot of young people fall in love these days. I know this isn't an unusual story, but these two knew each other online for a couple of years. And now this right here is them first meeting. And it's interesting, again, the boy, I don't know how young he is, but you can tell he's kind of an innocent, and you'll just see how it kind of plays out. But I think this, you can get a lot out of this. At least I did. So here, let's check this out.
For 2 years already online, so the distance relationship. Never met in real life, and I'm really nervous, but I also got this excitement. Anyway, she's gonna come to my school later on, and we're gonna meet. I'm super nervous, and it's like, she's such an amazing girl. Oh my God, my mom knows her, and my mom loves her. I just really can't wait for this moment. I'm gonna record. I'm gonna vlog this whole thing, I think, when I meet her and stuff, so you guys can see how it is. So yeah, I'm in the library right now, so I really can't talk about. But anyway,
Hi, I met you. What's your favorite thing about her? Bro, we just like, she's pretty, she got a good personality, like she's like my kind, right, you know what I'm saying? Dude, you see her? You see her? For no reason, like, go hug her, some shit. Oh, look at her, she's so pretty, look at her. Go. You go over like that. That's awkward. Go hug. Hi. I can do something. Hi. You gonna hug. My brother Sam is with me. Nice to meet you. Dude, that's so crazy. I'm sorry. That's so crazy. Like, you're mine. You know, it's so hard to say it. Like, you're mine.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared right now. I'm so scared.
Hug again? Okay. Wait, is mom there? Is your parents there?
No, my mom's not in me right now.
Oh. So.
I really like your jacket. You know?
Yeah. Hey, y'all, you guys want to get something to eat? You want to eat something? Yeah. You're new to Cali, right?
Yeah.
I'll teach you. Yeah. We can get some food if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, I'm also recording. If you know, I'm recording a YouTube video.
Really? Hi guys.
This is introduce yourself if you want.
Hi, I'm Kate. We've been talking for like 2 years now, like secretly.
Yeah, online. That's so crazy.
We made it this far, you know. A lot of people try to tear us apart, but we're still here.
You're super pretty.
You're super short.
How tall do you think I was gonna be?
I don't know, like taller than me. Really short.
I think it's older. Check it. Go back to that.
I mean, it's okay. We can work on that, right?
I mean, I can still grow, my mom said.
Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I know it's kind of kids stuff, but it's also just when I watched it, my first feeling was that, you know, how this young lady's programmed. You know, you're too short. You know, and that's all she talks about for the rest of the time. And I'll spoiler alert, they wind up not staying together. They wind up just being friends. And basically we just watched the moment he got friend zoned, you know, was when she kind of, I guess, finally got to be around him and maybe see that he wasn't as, you know, tall as she was expecting or whatever, didn't meet all of her requirements. But I thought that was really whack because they've been talking for 2 years online. Now, again, I have never had a relationship like that, but I know that's a very common thing these days. A lot of young people find each other online, sometimes in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, and fall for each other, and they live these kind of lives. So this is one of those where they got to meet, and unfortunately didn't work out for this young man. But, you know, he's also seemed like kind of very much an innocent, you know, still very young and kind of innocent. And I don't know. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the ladies move really fast these days. You know, hey, I'm not trying to be the judge and jury on that, but it's true. You know, a lot of the younger generation, the ladies are moving really fast. I mean, there's slut walks out there, folks, you know, so I'm not saying all of them. There's some great young ladies out there too. You know, it's a mix, and not all the guys are horn dogs going out there and, you know, getting it on with all the ladies. That's probably a much smaller percentage of the men are actually doing that. And then a larger percent that aren't already in relationships or in love for 20, 30 years with somebody are people like this, you know, I think in a lot of cases, maybe a bit socially awkward, don't really know how to interact, used to these digital love lives. And anyway, just some thoughts I had on that. I don't know, but that's on, Bomiao channel, BOMIIAO. If you want to go watch his whole video on that, he just uploaded it back in earlier this year, back in February. Walmart apologizes for line of R-rated sweaters, including one with Santa snorting blow. You've probably seen this because I know this went pretty viral here. I was hoping there'd be some pictures. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. Hey, Melvin. Hey, I'm really sorry. I'm actually in the middle of recording my show right now live. I know. Well, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Anyway, there's that. Rasmussen on Drudge Report. We don't think Matt Drudge is there anymore. Word is he sold, just waiting for confirmation. Been a lot of news about this over the last month or so. It actually became a story. I've seen it in a lot of different places. People talking about these drastic changes to Drudge Report. I've never used the Drudge Report consistently, but it's always been one of those sites I would go to in the middle of, like 30 or so that I like to look at. So I've always been familiar with it, and I always noticed it to have a bit of a conservative edge to it, but apparently it's completely lost that now. And that's been the story over the last month. And here's some more, perhaps. Rasmussen reports the influential polling company tweeted Saturday their belief that Matt Drudge is sold and is no longer running the Titanic news aggregator that bears his name, the Drudge Report. One of the most popular news destinations on the web, regularly clocking over 1 billion page views per month. It's historically been a conservative-leaning news aggregator and was openly pro-Trump before and after the president's election victory. But the site has garnered much attention in recent months for a clear shift in coverage of the president and its overall tone, seemingly turning against Trump and its historic conservative slant. The move has outraged some conservative pundits and resulted in the creation of new Drudge competitors. If the Drudge Report has indeed been sold, this would explain the shift in the site's tone. It would also be a major story, as the Drudge Report is a powerful driver of traffic, regularly competing against and beating sites like CNN, the New York Times, and the Washington Post. Do you remember Matt Drudge used to put out these cryptic tweets? And this was back 6 or 7 years ago. And I know I did some videos on it. You can look up Matt Drudge on my video channel, or my video section of my channel if you're curious. But I know I covered it because for a while he's putting out some really weird tweets about get ready, it's coming, and acting like something big was on the way. Anyway. Never Trumper Rick Wilson suggests putting anti-vaxxers in re-education camps. Anytime anybody in politics starts talking about those kind of camps, I'm not, my ears perk up. I don't like it, of course. I remember Hillary Clinton talking about that, about creating political camps for Republicans and Democrats where they have to stay together and learn to talk. It's like, yeah, that sounds wonderful. Dr. Pepper Prize winner shares gospel on live TV during Big Ten championship game. Check this out. Oh, sorry about that, guys. You can't hear it. I can barely hear it myself. I'll see if there's a transcript here. Here it is. Tyler Gordon, an Independence High School graduate, took home the grand prize of $100,000 after coming out on top in the overhand throwing competition. But it was his victory speech that caught the eye of Sports Spectrum podcast host and committed Christian Jason Romano. He said, "I want to thank God from the bottom of my heart," Gordon declared to the millions watching. "If you do not believe in him, I pray that you would soon become a believer." Good for him. "It'll mean the world to me," he added. "Words can't express how much it means. I've tried, and honestly, all I can say is that I'm so excited and so thankful for the opportunity. It's going to allow me to be able to pursue my goals without being hindered by my debt." Good news. Good story. CNN gets triggered by supercut of their impeachment coverage, has it removed from YouTube. Of course. Of course. I like this. It's one of those compilations where we know they're always on the same script, but it's nice to see it cut together like this sometimes.
With that gavel coming down, I'm Jake Tapper in Washington, and you're watching special coverage of this historic day.
This is a historic day here in the nation's capital.
It will be a busy and historic day ahead.
You're watching CNN special live coverage of what can only be described as an historic day.
This is turning out to be a historic day, a very important day. And another very, very important and historic day, a very historic and important day. Another historic day here in Washington, historic day here in the nation's capital. Chris, this is going to be another historic day here in Washington.
At the end of a long and certainly historic day.
A truly historic day. It was a historic day on Capitol Hill.
A historic day with millions watching.
A historic day. Historic day on this historic day. You're just getting started on this important historic day.
All right, it is a historic day on Capitol Hill.
Right. Same script, which means it's all nonsense. It's all the same nonsense. Vatican invests $1.1 million in Elton John movie with explicit gay sex scene. I really don't need to read anymore. It's like I'm not even surprised when I read stories like that. Steve Harvey gave all-time eye roll to question about climate change. This is from the Miss Universe 2019. He also had a mess up with calling the wrong name out, but he explained, and he did this once before, right? A few years ago, he called the wrong winner from the wrong country. And he did it again during this year. I don't think I've got the clip on this. But then he went after the teleprompter. He was like, the teleprompter said this. And he said, you guys got to stop doing this to me. So it makes me wonder if, if maybe they were trying to get back at him, or if that happened first or happened last. Either way, I don't trust him personally because he's a Mason, Hollywood Mason. There's a difference. I had my granddads were Masons. But these guys were from small towns and very church going, and that's just a whole different level, You get into the Hollywood Mason stuff, to me, that's when it starts getting kind of spooky. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch this. I did think this was good.
Doing enough to protect future generations from climate change. Today, doing enough to protect future generations from climate change. If not, what more should they be doing? Change. If not, what more should they be doing? Today, doing enough to protect.
See if this is louder.
Are leaders of today doing enough to protect future generations? Are leaders of today doing enough to protect future generations from climate change? If not, what more should they be doing?
You gotta love it. He knows it's ridiculous. This is a UFO sighting over the temple in Jerusalem, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, temple in Jerusalem. Check this out. It comes in and goes out. It starts manifesting more near the end. Look at this.
E capul meu. E capul meu.
Man, they messed up. They put these tags in, way too early, if you ask me, because that's when the footage just starts getting really good. Look at that. Weird, huh? Did you see that? From December 9th, 2019. Saying, is this real? Yes. Okay, thanks. It's real. I don't know. It was interesting, though. Disney spotlights 12-year-old transgender girl in latest Marvel series. Okay. The new Disney streaming service is spotlighting the activism of a 12-year-old transgender girl as part of the new Marvel unscripted series Hero Project, which profiles young individuals who are trying to make a difference in their communities. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Coming for the kids. Former Facebook executive. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. I guess I need to pause here. Do this. Former Facebook executive warns society will collapse into chaos and conflict within 30 years as robots put half of humans out of work, and he's living as a recluse in the woods to avoid it. Antonio Garcia Martinez, a former Facebook product manager and Silicon Valley author, became terrified of technology, quit his job to live a life as a recluse with a bucket toilet and assault weapon in the woodlands north of Seattle. You may not believe it, but it's coming, and it's coming in the form of a self-driving truck that's going to run you over, he told the BBC in an upcoming 2-part BBC documentary, Secrets of Silicon Valley. I'm going to want to see that. I've been wanting to do something on Silicon Valley for a while, actually. Okay. The show explores whether the technology being developed in San Francisco will lead to a utopian or dystopian future. Martinez says he's certain that robots are coming for human jobs. Within 30 years, half of humanity won't have a job, he said. It could get ugly. There could be a revolution. Martinez claims this will lead to revolt, mass chaos, and armed conflict, also adding that bullets will become the currency of America. You don't realize it, but we're in a race between technology and politics, and technologists are winning. They're way ahead. They'll destroy jobs and disrupt economies before we even react to them, and we really should be thinking about that. Martinez has insight into Silicon Valley and the technological revolution matched only by the industry's biggest players. In the last 6 years alone, he's been an advisor to Twitter, the CEO founder of AdGrok, and a product manager for Facebook, where he ran their targeted ads program. In 2016, he published the New York Times bestseller Chaos Monkeys, an autobiographical expose of life inside the Silicon Valley tech bubble. All right, cool. I think I got enough out of this. I'm going to come back to this one, though. I've been working on something with some of the craziness out of Silicon Valley, so this might be something I want to put into a bigger video. So there we go. It works. Let's do this too. That and that. Oh, and here it is. There's that Michael Jackson musical I was telling you about. It blames the sex abuse on aliens that drink virgin boy blood. I forgot that part. But the aliens are shaped like, I said, bedazzled gloves, it says. One specific alien glove attaches itself to Jackson at a young age, but Jackson alone cannot feed the other 5 alien gloves, and he begins using other young boys to sate them. Whole thing's weird, creepy, and kooky, but maybe you want to show you that video footage of his eyes. But that actually concludes all my stories, man. So, I feel like that just sped right by. Let me go and jump over here to the chat now. And hey, everybody, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. You know, as always, it's always nice spending some time with you guys. I get another show tomorrow night I'm doing with the YouTube channel Days of Noah. And we'll be talking about, are we in the days of Noah, and what that looks like and why people say that. We hear that all the time, don't we? I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters out there and PayPal supporters as well. And just thank you, and thanks for checking out my sponsors. Some of you guys like to check out the sponsors. I appreciate you. And I'm working hard on The Scariest Movie Ever Made Part 2. Be launching on January 1st, free, of course, for everybody. I'm looking forward to getting this out there. It's something you guys can share with people, and we can get out there and you can use it to help wake up others. But, we've come a long way since I made the first one over 10 years ago now. So just thanks again for your patience, guys. I'm excited to be making this. I've got a brand new video coming out in a few more days, which is a mishmash of some messages and some movies I've been picking up on lately I think is interesting. And again, like I said, I've got an empath show I want to do as well. Maybe I'll do that Saturday night. I'm not sure yet, but we'll do a personality profile empath show. and maybe even bring you guys on and we can all just talk one-on-one. You know, bring you on live. So we'll see. Either way, look, it's always a pleasure being with you. You guys are amazing. Moderators, thank you so much for everything you do as well. I appreciate it. God bless you guys. I always like to close with a little prayer. I'll just say, Heavenly Father, thanks once again that this is December 10th, and I am still here. I've always put that in your hands, Lord, and I know that if there's ever a day that this gets taken away and you want me to continue, I'll find a place, or if you want me to do something else, I'll just go do that. But just either way, thank you for having me. Thanks for these wonderful people, Lord. Thanks so much, and let us all look at this stuff every week without a spirit of fear, and hopefully not a spirit of exploitation, but just kind of looking at the signs of the world, around us and how everything's changing. And there certainly is it feels like a rising spirit, rising dark spirit. The Antichrist spirit feels like it's rising, and many of us are seeing this. So help us to see this, Lord, please, without a spirit of fear. And with all that being said, thanks again. I love you. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And also, guys, with the amen, that's just a habit, but I know I shouldn't say amen. That actually, I don't think amen is something that we need to really be doing or saying. But again, I don't ever tell you guys what to do or what to say. I do it out of habit. I've had people in comments get mad at me about it. I get it. I know where it comes from. Amen Ra. I understand all that. But it's just something, traditional religious upbringing. What can I say, man? Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm going to let you go. Much love to you, man. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you can show up tomorrow night for the show. The gentleman I'm having on has got a great mind, and he covers a lot of great topics, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So take it easy, and I'll see you then.